Hello, Chantal here, coming to you with another video. This one is going to be regarding what I'm doing at the moment, which is going around the house, going around the garage and finding lots of stuff that I want to get rid of, moving it on to hopefully a good home, but even if it doesn't, it's no longer my business. And in doing so, I actually thought of a few things that I wanted to share with you. So here goes. So first of all, if you're just getting started with selling items, it can be very easy to, let's say, have a little bit of a sentimental attachment to certain objects. And in doing so, we may not be very objective as to how much we can realistically get for that item. So your expectations may be up here and the reality may be down here. And of course, there's a gap here, it doesn't match. So if you are going to be using tools like eBay, there is an option for you to enter what item you're selling. So just enter that in the search field. And then you can put some filters in place, including limiting your search to only view sold items. So those items have already sold, they'll be listed with the most recently sold at the top, and it gives you an idea what sort of price you can fetch for your items. So it's about, you finding out whether you think it's a good price or not, and that might impact your decision to sell or not to sell. Now, when you're getting started, if you haven't got any existing feedback from previous customers, it might actually be an idea to start with a few items or, just stuff that's lying around that's fairly cheap, just so you build your reputation. So my recommendation would actually be with those to not be too greedy and just price to sell, just so you can get started, just so you start getting some reviews from your customer. And once you've got, those 5-star ratings, you may then want to start looking at selling more expensive items where hopefully you'll be able to make a bigger profit as well. Now, of course, from a time point of view, it will take you equally as long to list a cheap item as it will to list a more expensive item. But again, if you've got good reviews, people are more likely to trust you, and so they're more likely to engage with you on more expensive transactions. Now, also, when it comes to presenting the items and, you want to meet people's expectations, otherwise they're going to be disappointed with your service, with the items you're selling, and it's going to be reflected in the reviews they leave for you. And so with that, it's important to just take time to stage your photos properly, make them look as attractive as possible if you can, and also, much more importantly, I would say, make sure that you've got photographs from just about every possible items, so that you're giving the buyer essentially the experience of them holding that tangible items in their hand, even so it's of course not happening. So be very generous with the number of photos that you're taking. The more photographs you have, the better. And going back to the staging element, if you can, try and make your photos a little bit prettier. So for example, if you're selling, I don't know, let's say some perfume that you got that you didn't want, you might want to put some fresh flowers beside it, maybe, I don't know, some chocolates, that are like in a nice wrapping, just something where essentially you're sort of selling a lifestyle instead of just selling that one item. So it actually is something that potential buyers respond to quite a lot. So they're more likely to have a look at your item. They're also more likely to, want to bid or purchase your item, and you're likely to fetch a greater price also. So even so it might sound a little bit daft, it's actually worth the effort. Now, if you are going to start selling items and taking photographs, what you might want to do is have your stage set, and then put one item, take photos, move on to the next items, and just go into a little bit of a roll like this, so you don't have to undo your set all the time. It's just there, it's ready. Now, having said that, if you start going around your house, chances are you're going to find lots and lots of items that you want to sell. And so it might feel a little bit overwhelming. So just try and bundle together those items that are, fall within the same category. By bundle, I don't necessarily mean sell them as a bundle, although that's something you may want to consider, but rather just do a batch of, I don't know, whatever type of items, and then move on to a batch of another type of items. Now, also, if you are going to use a platform such as eBay, there's quite a bit of information that needs to be recorded when it comes to describing your item. So one thing you may want to do is, for example, have like a basic template that you build in a Word document. You can then just do a simple copy paste. The beauty of doing it in Word is that you can have like pretty colors, you can change the fonts as well more easily, etc. So all of that formatting to make your description more attractive, it's easier, in my opinion, to do in Word than it is to do on eBay, because there are limited options available, unless you want to get maybe a bit fancy with the HTML. Now, talking about templates, it's also possible for you to have set templates in eBay. So for example, if I look at the back of a cupboard and I find a dress, I can, list that one dress, and I can save all of the description as a template. And then the next time I've got another dress to sell, I just retrieve that template from eBay, and I just need to change the details like the brand, the color, etc., etc. Now, eBay is not the only tool that's available. I've mentioned this one primarily because it's what I use the most. However, there are other things to consider also, such as, for example, if you're just getting started and you've got some larger items, the prospect of shipping them to your customer may actually be a little bit daunting. You may not necessarily want to engage with, shipping companies, getting different quotes from them, etc. So for those, my recommendation would be to consider maybe selling on Facebook Marketplace. There are no fees for selling on this platform, which is nice. In my experience, it's been a little bit hit and miss from the point of view that lots of people who live nearby will see the items that I have for sale. However, they may not necessarily be truly interested in that item. And so with that, there's people saying, oh, is this still available? Oh, I'll think about it. Oh, maybe I'll come tomorrow. Oh, let me ask my husband. Lots of stuff like that, really. So it's not been the most productive way or the most effective way of selling items. But again, it's free of charge, which is fabulous. If you've got something which is larger, you can just get somebody to come and collect it from your home if you're okay with that. Or alternatively, if you can move it, let's say, relatively easily, you may want to put it in the trunk of your car, the boot of your car, and then maybe go to a public place like a public car park, or just somewhere where maybe you wouldn't feel vulnerable like maybe you might be if you were at home. So that's just another idea. There's also a lot of apps that exist nowadays. I must put my hand up and say I've not really played with that very much. I've just last night, for the very first time, tried my hand at Vinted, which is for used clothes. And I didn't really read the instructions or what. I actually listed some brand new items on there, but never mind. The process was very simple, certainly a lot faster than it is to list stuff on eBay. And I believe they're not charging for that either. So don't really have an opinion of it yet, as I haven't gone through that full cycle. But otherwise, I wanted to say as well, that last bit, so I didn't consider that at all. So when my coach asked me the question, what are you going to do with the money? I was like, oh, didn't consider that for a second. What do I say to this? And really, I didn't know. It might depend on how much money I make. Just because of my nature, I'd be tempted to save some of that money, put it aside, maybe into my holiday fund. But it'd be nice to also splurge. It's not just about purging your house, purging your garage and just getting rid of everything you do not need, but also about enjoying the moment and buying something that you really want, something you really love. So if you think of one such item, then all the better. Now, just one last thing. If you're struggling to decide what to keep, what to get rid of, just have a look through my videos. I did one a few weeks ago, which was around the cost of clutter. And it talks notably about, spending more money than you need. So that might be an incentive. But also it's about, a little bit around the mental cost and something which I call your true self versus your fantasy self, which may, help you decide, keep, get rid of. So anyway, that's it from me for now. Bye.